Get ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About You, ABQ.
Welcome. It's All About You, ABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, lifestyle, so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. Now, the way that we like to do that is to answer the questions that you may have or interview the guests that you'd like to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out using the hashtag above or join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner, broker of Sold by Skip Real Estate here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, home lender, Vision Mortgage.
Now, you've probably seen Grant in his giant hairdo as the head coach of the University of New Mexico men's Lobo hockey team, but now he's absolutely crushing it in the mortgage space.
And you have made seen Skip in his Eddie Bauer clothing and on House Hunters, HGTVs, and he's part of the top 2 producing real estate agents in the nation.
In the world.
In the world,
oh
and maybe in the universe.
Speaking of, the universe is really aligning that we're here today on the windiest day of the year in Albuquerque, which is one of those funny things that, a lot of people forget about is we may get some warmer weather, but we're turning into the windy season here locally.
I think a lot of people were really happy to have spring encroach, and I use the word encroach because when everyone says, Grant, are you happy for spring? I go, what, for my Pomeranians to blow away? No, I'm not happy about this. This might be the short segment of the season that I'm not a fan of, and I have allergies, right? So it looks like I probably smoked 72 joints on the way to the show. I haven't, just had a tumbleweed blow in my eye. So.
All right, here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. We got a great guest coming up, Andrew LoBue of the Grove Market.
Yeah, the Grove Café or Market off of Central, fabulous place. Reminds me kind of LA-ish, San Diego boutique type of store we have here, and we also have alpaca here.
So there's a story behind the alpacas. It's a recurring theme that Grant wants to get alpacas.
The wind, Stephen, in the studio. There he is. There's alpaca.
His name is Al. Pack you later. But here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. We're going to jump into the mortgage minute and touch on a couple things that are relevant to the market today, whether that's a new home construction. How do we even build a house? How do we get financing to build a house?
Right.
And then what happens after we do that? So there's different rates, different programs involved with that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I think what everybody really needs to be aware of is that in the third segment, we're going to stay tuned for Skip's tips. But Grant, tell us a little bit about your weekend, because I know we're coming off a huge celebratory weekend. In fact, we're all still recovering here.
Yeah, well, I turned 43 years of age. Yeah. And we spent half of the night at Copper Lounge, right? We'll have the owners of Copper Lounge and components of them on future shows. But fabulous place, looks like the Great Gatsby inside.
Let's talk about Copper Lounge, because it's going through a little bit of a renaissance, a little rebirth. Yeah. In the fact that when the disease or when the virus that shall not be named hit.
Why are we doing that?
So we don't get demonetized talking about spreading. When everybody shut down, they invested their money into expanding the restaurant. Yeah. And so opening this summer, they're going to have a whole other wing of the restaurant, which we can talk about.
We can talk about that. Yeah, I mean, the place is people who haven't been to Copper Lounge in a few years, or 5, 6. It had like a putting green. And it was known for 25-cent Miller Lights and a TV that looked like it belonged in a tavern. This is kept in the family. And now it's been revitalized. It looks beautiful in there. So it's my favorite place to take pictures of my Pomeranians, host birthday parties, and then later we went to Effects, and Carrie Phyllis got me a table, and she's a great person. We should have her on the show too.
Who is Carrie? What?
Carrie Phyllis from Effects. She's Effects, the perennial, long-standing techno music club. Yeah. So we went there after, got a table, had my hockey friends over. We
One of the things that nightlife here in Albuquerque is, we're not exactly known for our nightlife. We're slow to make changes here, but one club that has rung true over the past 10 years is FX. So it's a great place to get
let loose, let your hair down. have your alpaca, get on the dance floor. Yeah, I think it's great. It's a place that's kind of like peaceful, didn't dance, and everyone just has a good time. Yeah.
So coming up, let's talk a little bit more about when it comes to financing. I know that if you've ever gone through the process of building a new home or you wanted to explore what that looks like, step one is always identifying a parcel of land in the right neighborhood that you want to be in. Some neighborhoods like North Albuquerque Acres, you're going to have to deal with drilling a well, septic system. And a lot of people, if you're not familiar with that process, there's some finances and some costs that can go into that. But if you can find a lot that's available in a neighborhood, typically you're going to have fewer hoops to jump through, and financing will be a little bit easier. But talk a little bit more as we transition into the Mortgage Minute. How do we do construction finance?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get into our Mortgage Minute. So as Skip was talking about the nuances of buying land and building, there's a lot of things to take into consideration, utilities, water. Let's say that you have that in place. You're going to want to go to a bank and propose the land you have. You may even have financed the land. If you haven't, it's better. It's actually better to have your land paid for, and you come to the construction loan processor and you let them know that here's my plans, here's how much it will cost. The rate will be a little bit higher than your average mortgage. There's going to be draws, and you will be the money will be issued in phases. So that begs the question: well, what do I do after that? There's a concept called construction of permanent financing, and it's considered a refinance and not actual purchase. So you're able to get a lower rate and not go through all the purchase items that would be in closing. So that takes some qualification, and what we do is we actually take in consideration what your entire house and land is worth versus how much you owe, and you could be below the 80% loan to value threshold, avoid mortgage insurance, and obviously get a lower rate. So construction loans have a higher rate. They may even have a balloon payment, or they get variable at the end of their term. So it's important to refinance them into permanent financing. And of course, this is a lot I threw at you, but make sure you consult a mortgage professional, and we'll guide you through the process. That's our Mortgage Minute.
Bro, you crushed that mortgage.
I felt like I had it today.
Look at how excited this guy's erect. He knows about mortgages.
Yeah, there's a lot of direct stuff going on here.
A lot of fluff, but he's pretty firm when it comes to this sort of topic. No, construction loans are tricky, but the key is to purchase the land for cash. That way you have skin in the game, and your bank is going to use that as the collateral as your
instant equity too, right? I mean, when you show you have your parcel of land paid for, that's equity right there. The completion of the house is even further equity. So the name of the game for lending is getting your loan to value, right? How much you're borrowing versus how much it's worth, as low as you can, and the rates just get better per 10% increments. So.
Great. Yeah. And so again, if you're looking for new construction, whether it's building and designing your own property or jumping into one of these communities that's already built by one of the national builders or local builders, we're happy to show you around. So again, just reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, we'll walk you through the process. Coming up in the next segment, Drew LoBue is in the house.
Yeah, Drew LoBue on UABQ.
This is like a whole little boy blue type situation.
Yeah, we like to talk to Sue's thing.
But the Grove Café Market, we've all been there before.
Yeah.
Fantastic place for coffee, little brunchy date spot. So we're going to have him come on and talk about the process of building out the store shell and really transforming that block into a trendy part of Albuquerque.
Yeah, story about him and his family and his transferring over here in his roots, yeah.
And then, of course, stay tuned to the final segment of the show. And I don't even have to tell you guys this.
But I bet he's going to.
But everybody put your ear to the screen for Skip's Tips.
Or lick your laptop.
Or lick my J. Stay tuned. Oh, welcome back to UABQ. I'm Skip Adams, owner, broker of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage, home lender.
Well, fantastic segment we've got right now. We're joined by Drew LoBue, who's a former hockey player, but got a great story in the fact that grew up in Albuquerque. He's got some deep roots here. Business owner, and really everything that UABQ is about. So, Drew, dude, welcome to the show, man. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
showing
guys.
up
Thanks
today.
for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So talk a little bit about, growing up here on the mean streets of Albuquerque. That's kind of the story that we share, and we always try and incorporate people that have kind of a similar backstory.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, what it was like for you and some of the things that you enjoy about and what kept you here.
Albuquerque has always been good to me. It's beautiful weather. That was what brought us here in the first place, right? Come from Chicago, the windy city.
And don't you feel at home now?
Yeah.
Don't worry about missing any components. We got the wind right now, blowing our face off.
It welcomed me in great. Yeah, there's a little more sand in the air in this wind, but yeah. So Albuquerque, we saw a lot of opportunity here, and there wasn't a lot going on as far as restaurants and stuff like that, as far as clean and fresh and that kind of deal. So that was kind of where that was kind of what brought us here in the beginning. We weren't in the restaurant industry then, but there was a lot of opportunity, to say the least.
So let's talk about how you got there. Your father, a New Mexico legacy in its own fact, and hockey. Tell us a backstory about your father.
So yeah, my father, Nick LoBue, he started when I was about 8 years old when we moved here, and he wanted me to start a sport. And out of nowhere, I said I wanted to play hockey, right?
Good choice.
And
As most desert kids do.
Yeah. Natural gravitation to the ice.
He was very surprised. No one in my family ever played. So I started playing, and we didn't have a ton of connections when we first moved out here. And he actually developed a lot of them through me starting to play hockey. So as I started playing, started on the travel team, we started getting close with all the families. That's where he gained his first job. One of the other dads on the team was talking about opening or starting the New Mexico Scorpions. And so he wanted my dad to be the GM of the Scorpions. So
let's talk a little bit about Scorpions, was the minor league hockey team here in Albuquerque. And when they started out, they were playing at Tingley Coliseum.
They were at Tingley, and I think what we never mentioned with our guest, the Playmans, is that was the birth of that. So was it the Playmans that had hired?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is all comes back full circle.
Yeah.
So your dad was a general manager.
Yeah.
Really got his fill in hockey, and the Outpost was the Albuquerque was outgrowing the Outpost, and it wasn't the Outpost was a bad place. There just wasn't enough ice time, right?
Yeah.
So that's
So 1996 is when he put together Blades. He was the sole owner, and it was amazing because I was playing hockey, and my dad's like, "I'm going to build an ice hockey rink," right? And so anyway,
just to touch on that a little bit, for a lot of the people that watch may not be hockey players growing up, but if you were a hockey player growing up, you basically had one option, that was to go to the Outpost Ice Arena, and you had to go after hours when they weren't doing couple skates on the ice, right? You had to go at like midnight and have your team practice. Yeah. So the LoBues came to town and decided, hey, let's build our own chapel, let's build our own church.
And here's the first round of it will never work. There's not enough hockey. It will never work in Rio Rancho, right? First, we like to talk about the show, everyone that says no, and we like our yes guys, right? So his dad said, I don't care. Find a few other investors in here, and I've got a hockey son and a couple other hockey dads, and said, let's do it. And it worked, and it was effective, and there was enough business to go around. It wasn't a cutthroat, let's eliminate Outposts. It was serving the needs.
As real estate guys too, you guys would love to hear that. I believe they offered him the land for free in Rio Rancho. That was one of the big
That's
fights.
A good construction loan addition. Get your land for free. Then some equity. Yeah.
Right. And so yeah, it was a pretty amazing situation there. So I don't know, but basically started that out.
But also imagine, that had to be a huge project. So I would imagine you had the community rally around. I'm sure there was hockey players showing up to move dirt, help you guys hang drywall or whatever.
Yeah, there were
it was.
terrible hockey player construction workers that were for cheap, but our work reflected our rate. We didn't know what we were doing, and we got yelled at a lot, but we're hockey players. We're used to get yelled at. I'll shovel stuff and people bark at me, so we were perfect for the job.
I promise I didn't know anything about the labor laws, anything like that going on there. I do not recall. But yeah, it was a lot. It was a community effort to kind of get that place built. Originally, he wanted to do 2 sheets of ice, and my grandpa talked him out of it. he wanted to call it two choices. Is always a joke in the family that's it could have been called two choices instead of blades.
I love it.
But yeah, so yeah, they decided to go with one ice and one roller, and yeah.
The roller was cool, man. That was the only indoor roller that was worth anything. I think they had another one at Roller King, and you basically had to sweep away the sand and the spiders and the cigarette butts in there. So the blades with the other arena was like a really fun venue for hockey players. Generally love roller hockey. It's what we get to do when we're not on the ice.
But also, I can imagine there's plenty of birthday parties and stuff that go on there.
Oh yeah,
You know, not just hockey. It's more of a fundraising and community event.
It was a hot spot for a lot of entertainment. They even
had midnight dances.
They did like raves or something like that way back in the day. I don't know what they were doing.
Who does that? I've never been to FX.
Yeah, why would you listen to EDM? Yeah, that'll never make it in the future.
That picture that they just showed, though, it makes me laugh. Though my grandpa, going way back, he owned a movie theater, Nortown movie theater back in Chicago Heights. And he wanted to put that revolving blue light on the top on top of blades. I don't think they use anymore, but it's still up there. It's still up there.
But so talk about the transition. I know you guys ran it, and it was Blades for a while, but it's under new management and ownership. Talk about the exit of Blades and into the new industry.
I don't know too much about it personally. I was playing hockey, doing my thing back in the day, but it was basically the McDermott Center. So at some point, my dad, he was, during the time at Blades, he was also the general manager of the Scorpions, and he got an offer, I believe, to do the New Mexico Isotopes. And so he was going to be the assistant general manager over there, and at some point he had to step away from Blades.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so after that is when the transition happened.
Okay. Yeah. So now hockey family, hockey roots. Then let's talk about the birth of the Grove, right? Because that was a very, I don't want to say daring. It wasn't daring in my opinion, but everyone said this venue will never work. You can't have a sandwich that's over $6. You could talk about the birth of the idea and then how the follow through and how it came to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, talk about what I love about it, and what we're talking about is the Grove Market and restaurant, but the location is in a trendy spot right on Central, and in a time when Central was not always the best place to be, but you guys kind of came in and turned that corner around.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily trendy when we first got here, right? I would say that, and I've seen that area kind of go and its ups and downs sort of thing. It has definitely we have kind of stuck through it. But yeah, I guess right there we saw a vision with all of the hospitals around, the businesses. It is in walking distance to a lot of neighborhoods, even in that area. And that's what we wanted. We wanted a community restaurant that people could walk to, and also serve for all the professionals in the area. We do catering and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
To make sure that it was kind of like that. That was the vision, and we wanted to be a big part of the community.
So talk about building it from a shell. Did you guys have any experience in a restaurant, or are you just throwing darts and just hoping that something sticks?
So Lauren and Jason Green, Lauren's my sister, Jason's my brother-in-law. Jason, he went to New England Culinary Institute, and then Lauren had some experience in hotel resort management from Las Vegas. And basically, they really they did their research, as they do with anything that we kind of put our minds to. They went around, they traveled, put it on the business to make all that kind of stuff happen, and so really they just did a bunch of research, feeling what we really wanted to do with the restaurant. We felt like that brunch was a very, a missing piece of Albuquerque's
for sure
culinary.
Underserved, right? I mean, there are not enough venues, right?
Yeah.
In fact, we have one of our interns, Ophelia, said that she had a fantastic cupcake on Valentine's Day by herself. That's the kind of girl she is on Valentine's Day, goes solo, And
solo Valentine,
yeah.
Well, at
Single
least she had a Grove
Valentine.
cupcake, though, right? That made
and she had
better.
a fabulous salmon. The dishes. Let me speak to this.
Salmon cupcakes.
I love the dishes there. They are something that I would say is probably trademarked. You're not gonna. There's a few niche dishes that I think you have, and it's probably refreshing for people who've been probably from the West Coast. It reminds me of an LA type of boutique spot, and I love to see the menu items on there. In fact, you've also hired a few former hockey players, and I'll touch on that in a second. But talk about your favorite dishes that you think that you have that.
Ooh.
Signature,
and we'll tell you if you're wrong or not.
Yeah. I mean, the BLT is probably one of my classic go-tos.
Okay.
One of the reasons why the Grove is so amazing is the ingredients that we use. Fresh. All of our meats are all natural, nitrate-free, antibiotic-free. So it's just it's healthy bacon, right? If you don't have to feel bad about eating this bacon.
Do you serve alpaca? And do you guys have a need for alpaca socks?
We haven't gotten there yet. Some of our chefs are very creative, so I wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't recommend eating them. I just want to serve the byproducts with their hats and shirts, and maybe we'll have a gift shop. Skip, we're not eating alpacas.
Speak for
Don't
yourself.
entertain this.
No,
Okay.
but so I would say that our Grove pancakes, they're a crepe style pancake,
I had
French style.
Wonderful, yes.
Creme fraiche, fresh fruit, a little bit of honey, and organic maple syrup on the side. That's one of our go-tos. One of the things that people will stand in that line for every Saturday and Sunday, every day anyway. So that's a big one. We also have a little bit more of a decadent poached eggs with prosciutto, asparagus, and Parmesan.
Yep.
So those are our go-tos, and then you can kind of go on the lighter side with some avocado toast.
LA.
Yeah.
So LA.
Yeah.
So millennial. Well, let me ask you about this. I know, owning a business here locally in Albuquerque is kind of what this show is about. Hiring local, sourcing your meats locally, all of your ingredients. So, with the success of this restaurant, I mean, are there anything coming up that you want to pitch? Any whispers of a new location, or are you keeping everything under wraps for now?
We're really focusing. COVID was a hit on us. We had to kind of figure out ways to be creative with the online ordering, curbside pickup. A little bit shifted more to go when we created the place to, focus on in-house, and so we really got out of that. It's all coming back. Everybody wants to get out. They want to be in the restaurant again. They want to get that experience that we provide at the Grove as well. And so we're really focusing this year on just digging into that, coming back with some advancements in the restaurant, inside and out, just to keep everything fresh around there. So no advancements are outside of the Grove quite yet. Mm-hmm. We are looking to grow our business in our fancy hot sauce and our granola possibly. So,
wait a minute, say more about that. This is all made in-house, the hot sauce?
Yeah. So we have.
Sorry to cut you off, but we have an ongoing bet here of who can handle the hottest chili peppers. Grant grows some, but he's a little bit softer than I am when it comes to.
No, but this isn't. We're gonna find out.
So if you want to bring some in and then come back for episode 2.
I'd love to. Yeah. So the fancy hot sauce is basically organic cayenne peppers, vinegar, and salt, and then they barrel age it in oak barrels. So that's what kind of separates our hot sauce a little bit from the rest. It does add a little bit of heat to it.
Yeah.
And we serve it on our, one of our best sellers right now is the fancy breakfast sandwich. Is house-made English muffin, over easy eggs, Gruyere cheese, arugula, and the fancy hot sauce.
Let's talk about your hours of operation.
I was going to say, what time does your day start if you're up making custom orders?
So luckily we have a kitchen.
Because I know it's you. I know it's you there making the English
He's the
muffins.
Cashier. He's the baker.
It's time to make the donuts.
At one point we were down to 5 employees. Like I said, COVID was rough for us. But yeah, we definitely we have a great crew. They're there as early as 5 a.m. getting things started. We open the doors at 8 a.m. and we close at 2 p.m.
Every day?
Every day. I'm sorry, Monday we are closed completely, so don't make that mistake.
So he's got to get haircuts on Monday.
That's right. That's right.
We're going to extend this segment a little bit.
I'm having a great time.
So we're going to probably go past it with our producer and say we're going to go past it a little bit. I want to talk about, let's bring this back full circle into the fact that there were some I used to come in there almost every Saturday or Sunday, and I'd bring my Pomeranians, and I'd create this little circus, and there'd be a line. But what I want to talk about is the line is efficient there. They won't let you go just snag a table and go online. They have it run so efficiently, by the time you make your order, there's a table ready for you, and there's a person watching for you. So they run really efficient there, and they also like to use some former hockey players in there. So let's talk about the McMaster family. You had 2 employed there. There was Sam working there. If you didn't know about the McMaster family, they have about 9 kids, and they didn't have cable, so you know why they had so many kids. So I think it was great to see so many hockey players working at your spot at one time. But how many premier cooks do you got now?
We have a staff of about 15.
Incredible.
Between 10 and 15 cooks, respectively, depending on the time. But yeah, we have a great team right now. Everything, flowing beautifully. Even though you wait through that line, no matter how long the line is, we're about 10 to 15 minutes for the food after
It's
you
not
wait.
bad, and I think that what happens while there is you get some new ideas about what you're going to order by the time you make it there. And everyone is a really polite person in there. There's something that happens when you step through the door. There's a bunch of manners that come about, and you're in a neat building too.
Yeah, we got the music playing, people catch up, That building is actually a First Baptist Community Center built in 1910.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's where you know it from.
Yeah, that's where I used to.
He was a First Baptist.
I was actually the second. My family was.
Yeah, so it's definitely an old building. It's the cell phone service is bad in there too, in the back, but not in the front. But yeah, so we got a good thing going on for sure. But yeah, we want to make sure that everybody gets a seat, right? Some people try and save all these tables, and they're like, they're coming, their family's coming, whatever, But just like you go anywhere, it's you sit down when your party's there, or you wait through the line, and yeah, it's all flowing really good now. We're really happy about where we got back to.
Well, it's great to always be greeted with a smile and have good customer service, and it's so hard right now in this time, especially coming back from when everybody was shut down, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you guys have had some struggles keeping employment, or maybe. But it's awesome just to know the 5-star reviews that everybody's giving.
Yeah. So what we'll close this segment out, but you remind me of Copper Lounge, another place that they said it would never work, and they revitalized it, and you're living instances of improving the naysayers along. Yeah. My favorite part about the business on the show. So hey, thanks for coming on here, man. This was great, and if you guys haven't checked out Grove, it's wonderful. I mean, I'm not just pumping his tires. I was going there long before we even knew we'd have a show.
Yeah, so we'll have links to the Grove, the website, as well as social media links, so you can follow them online. Drool over all of their delicious pictures that they have.
Drew.
Yeah, drool. Drool over Drew. But so again, thanks for stopping by, Andrew LoBue. But also, here's why you're going to want to stay tuned to the final segment as we get ready to wrap this thing up. In this episode of Skip's Tips, we're going to talk about 3 pricing strategies that work in this market. So stay tuned.
Welcome back, Wayne's World. Just kidding. Welcome back to UABQ.
Are you kidding?
Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. Thank you for Andrew LoBue coming on the show. Fabulous segment from him. Again, check out the Grove. I love the place. We're at the part of the show where people usually faint, and we'll get into Skip's Tips.
How we doing? Camera 2, camera 2.
Wayne's
We good?
World.
Oh, it's time for Skip's Tips. Skip's Tips are anything that saves us time, make us more money, or allows us to have more freedom in real estate or in real life. So in this Skip's Tip, we're giving a shout out to the sellers. If you're in the market to sell your home, there's 3 pricing strategies that you need to be aware of. And the first is the old school way of doing it. Price your home, just aim for the stars, and hope you can find a bigger sucker than you to pay over market value for that property. What happens is you tend to just do that price reduction strategy over a while and really end up shooting yourself in the foot. The second strategy is to price your home right at where comps are or recent sales are in your neighborhood. And this is a good way to do it if you're in a seller's market, because there's no other competition. If there's no other homes on the market, this is the best way to do it, because you can really dictate what the price is going to be. Since we're in a competitive market right now, here's the third and best strategy that we've seen get the best results for you. Price your home about 3% under recent sales in the neighborhood. But why? I don't want to sell my home for that low. Well, guess what? Pricing the home correctly, you're going to get multiple buyers. And as a seller, you're going to have the best terms
and the highest price when you have multiple buyers competing against each other. So if you like this tip even just a bit, then send it to your friends, because that's Skip's Tips.
That was great.
You know, I felt pretty good on that one. You know, Skip's Tips is always just, there's so much pressure, but I feel like I really hit that one out of the park.
I feel like you missed the method number 4, which is selling it on eBay, which is how you got rid of your 1985 IROC Z Camaro in high school.
Is that where you got your Celica or Corolla? I can never tell if it's a Corolla or the Celica that you
Well,
race.
because you're an Italian.
Hey, where's your donkey or whatever? Get that thing out here.
Everybody, thank you for watching our show today. Drew LoBue and Alpaca, or maybe a perennial guest thing, but I appreciate it.
Alphonse Paca, you later. We'll see you on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings here on the Education Channel 96. Big shout out. After all, this is all about you, ABQ.